Hello, yes, it's us again with another download from Radio 2. It's the Confessions podcast, all the terrible tales from this week in one neat package. This week we bring you a willing, wonderful woman. I know. A wet, wet, wet wash. There's a thought. Loud labour love and made-up motorway mischief. Here it all comes. Father Simon and the Ministry of Truth. Forgive my sin because it is great and my burden is heavy. It was the early 1980s. I was a young mum of a 5-year-old boy, and like many other 5-year-olds, he loved his superheroes. He loved all of them. He had posters, he had action figures, he had annuals. One day I was on my way to my regular aerobic session when he asked me if he could come with me. And I said I couldn't take him because I was on my way to work. My job, actually, when I say my job, it wasn't quite right. It was actually my second job. He looked slightly puzzled, as only a 5-year-old can, and said, "What do you mean, Mummy?" Well, I said, my second job, and to this day I have no idea particularly why I said this. I said, well, my second job is, I'm Wonder Woman.
Oh,
brilliant.
Fantastic.
I pulled my leotard out of my bag, and his face filled with amazement. Wow, he said, you really are Wonder Woman. Each time I went out, the story became a little bit more elaborate. I would tell him tales of who I was saving and told him I did the twirly thing in the phone box to change my outfit. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I really was called Diana Prince, or Princess Diana of Themyscira, from the Amazon, with special powers. Okay, I sat in tights.
Everyone.
I had a lasso of truth, and I had a magic tiara. These are all things.
Now the world is ready for you.
Okay, that's enough of that. So anyway, that's who I was. I was Diana Prince, because that's what she was. She was Princess Diana of Themyscira with the magic tiara and the lasso of truth. I thought, Father Simon, I could get away with it, because if you squinted a bit, well, a lot, and discounted the chest and the long legs, I maybe looked just a tiny bit like Linda Carter. My son was sworn to secrecy. I said he could not tell his father or I would lose my magic. And when I was fighting Dr. Psycho or Cheetah or Giganta, I would be in real trouble. And I had to be as beautiful as Aphrodite, as wise as Athena, and stronger than Hercules, and swifter than Mercury. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Mummy, but you are. Mummy, you are. That's what he told me, and so therefore I believed him. This went on for some time. I would leave my little son jumping about with excitement when I left the house. One day, I got home to a very cross-looking husband. Now ex-husband. How dare I lie to small children? I have to say, my ex-husband, though he was current husband at the time, put him right. My son was very disappointed that his mum was not really Wonder Woman, but only a district nurse, who, of course, as we all know, are
Wonder Women.
Wonder Women for all the fine work they do.
Yeah.
Father Simon, I need forgiveness from my lovely son, now in his mid-30s. He will know who he is. I'm sure he will. And apologise to him for stringing him along for so long. I'm sure he's probably realised by now, but he hasn't got a sister called Fury, loyal to the Apocalypton Steppenwolf.
Oh, yes.
Which is what I told him. I hope I haven't scarred him for life. I won't ask for forgiveness from my ex, though. I understand Wonder Woman appears in the new Batman and Superman film. It might be time. It might be time to try on that leotard one more time. Anyway, Julie, a.k.a. Wonder Woman, needs some forgiveness. What are you saying there, Sister Bobby?
Inspired. Absolutely, 100% inspired. Just a little note to your ex-husband. You see, the thing is, while he was trying to put your son off the scent, of course, you put him right and said, no, I'm definitely Wonder Woman. It's just that Daddy's trying to keep a secret for me and he's just being overly protective. I hope you told your son that and kept it going for as long as possible. I think all parents are some kind of superheroes with what you have to do to nurture these young things. So you are absolutely 100% forgiven. Also, I did a similar thing. when I told my niece that I played for the England rugby team when I pulled a pair of my rugby socks out of the washing basket.
Really?
And she believed me and told everyone at school.
Have you got a lasso of truth?
I don't know, because I played for the England rugby team, you see, so that was it. I had the rugby socks.
They haven't got one.
Well, Matt has certainly got a magic
You're
tiara
forgiven,
because I've
Julie.
seen him in it on Saturday night.
Absolutely.
What do you say,
I
Brother
said,
Matthew?
what on earth is the ex-husband doing here, saying that she's not Wonder Woman when quite patently she is with her satin tights and her leotard? I am definitely going to forgive because he was very much loving the fact that Mum is going out, but she's going out and she's lassoing the truth and she's fighting all the baddies. Good for her. I am definitely going to forgive.
So remember, yes, you have to be as beautiful as Aphrodite,
Yep.
as wise as Athena, stronger than Hercules and swifter than Mercury.
Check, check, check.
And then you too can be Wonder Woman. Tonight's comes from, let's just see, let's say it comes from Bob. Dear Father Simon and the flock of forgiveness, my tale of woe occurs way back in 2001. By the way, is this one of those confessions which you can probably work out what's going to happen? But maybe there'll be a twist, who knows? When my son Billy, which is actually his real name, although he might have changed it, was 2 years old, it was a warm summer afternoon in West London, and I was driving home after taking him out for the day. The windows of my Granada gear were down, and the electric sunroof was open. Yeah, I was that stylish. The wind was blowing through my hair and was blowing through my son's hair as well. Unnecessary detail, yeah. We were 5 minutes from home and just passing the local garage. Excuse me. When I decided to pull in to go through the car wash.
There we go.
Absolutely anything could happen.
Yeah, anything could happen now. Yeah. Okay.
I went into the shop, paid for the car wash and a newspaper, and being the great dad that I really am, says Bob, I bought Billy some chocolate. Don't tell Mummy, I say, and I handed him the sweets, whilst getting back into the car, put him in the seat behind me, pull up to the car wash, put the token in, close the windows, as well as the sunroof. Obviously, I mean, I'm not an idiot. I don't like it, Daddy, said Billy in his best 2-year-old West London accent. Oh, okay. I don't like it, Daddy.
What?
Is that how they talk?
Was he 14?
I don't like it, Daddy. He says in his
It's a
best
carry-on film.
2-year-old West London accent as the car wash whirled into life. You'll be okay, mate. It's only going to clean the car. I was saying this while trying to read the sports news because Chelsea had played someone or other. That Claudio Ranieri, he's never going to win anything, is he?
Very good.
I say, wisely. The car moved forward into the start of the car wash. What do you think of Claudio Ranieri, son, then? I say. I don't like, Daddy, I don't. Oh, I think he's going to come good. He's going to be a car wash, Daddy. I don't like it. It's okay, mate. It's just going to clean. Calm down. It's just going to clean the car. Car moves forward again, half submerged now into the soapy wash. Daddy, I don't like it! Shrieks Bill. Another impression, please. Oh, that's all the only one I've got. Nothing will happen, I say, getting a little irritated now. Just stop worrying. I'm trying to read the news. The car was now completely inside the car wash. Don't. Billy is really crying now. Listen, mate, I said whilst turning around. It can't... Oh. Much to everyone's surprise, Billy's window was wide open. He is covered in bubbles and water, and the cloth straps that clean the cars are flicking all over him like an alien attack in Alien. Yeah. His chocolate was still in his hand, but he wasn't interested in that anymore. Like a superhero, I jumped into the back. I fought back the alien and I closed the window. I had thought I'd already done it, but obviously I'd only closed my window. Car wash finished, and at this point I did what any decent dad would do. I took him into the toilets and I tried drying him under the hairdryer. It took quite a while. We went home, but Billy was still wet and I was chuckling. I told his mum that he'd spilt his drink all over himself. Despite Billy talking about water and car and bubbles, I said, no, what does he do? Just spill his drink. So here's the thing, Father Simon. I don't seek forgiveness from the customers in the toilet who witnessed me drying my son under the hairdryer, nor do I seek forgiveness from his mother, who, until this day, thinks he just spilt his drink. But I do seek forgiveness from Billy, who for quite a few years afterwards was slightly traumatised whenever he saw a car wash, which you have to say with understandable reason, given the horrendous neglect there. Because those flappy, clothy things, I would imagine, would be rather nasty if they came at you through the car window. Anyway, so I guess you knew as soon as the word car wash appeared exactly what was going to happen. But anyway, I like that one, Bob. Thank you very much indeed. Sister Bobby, what are you saying?
Well, Bob, you're lucky you didn't have the whizzy roundy car wash, which whizzes round at high speed down the side of your car and
that's
takes
true.
off half the dirt and half of your paintwork. So that would have been much worse for him. So you just got lucked in there because the flippy floppy ones are a little bit more gentle, I think.
Well, I think they might just give you a slap round the face. I don't like that very
better
much.
than the whizzy brush, that nylon brush that whizzes past. What I'm saying is, also, if you'd just turn around for one moment, you'd have noticed. But because you were focused on the sport, and also telling your 2-year-old not to be scared, even I'm scared in the car wash. When I take the dog in, he's absolutely terrified. So it's one of those things you could have
Why are
just
you
given
taking the dog
Don't
in the
take the
car
dog
wash?
in then.
well, no, that's it. I've done it once, never again, because it scares him because they don't know what it is.
But why are you scared?
What? Because they are a bit
No, they're
daunting,
not.
aren't they?
No, they're not. It's just a thing cleaning your car.
You have no imagination, obviously, when you're
Yes,
sitting in there.
yes, I do. It's
Are you
just-
not frightened that the bar will come and smash your windscreen when it just comes just too close? It stops just in time. No. Anyway, back to Bob and to Billy.
Yes.
I don't think you're forgiven because I think you're just distracted by the sport. You didn't look after your child, and I feel sorry. And you made your child lie to his mum.
Chelsea fan, see? Can't
Not
trust
forgiven.
him.
Yeah.
What you saying there, Matt?
Well, obviously, he managed to get the sunroof up. So, we've got to give him a good bit of credit there. And it's a pity about the window. There you go. At least the son managed to carry on eating the chocolate, or holding on to the chocolate. Didn't want to really eat it, and quite understandably, after being attacked by those rogue car wash things. So I am going to forgive, because, to be honest, which of us as parents has not made a tiny mistake once in their lives?
Sort of
we've all
quite
done
neglectful,
it.
in fact.
We've all done it.
Locking their children out, I don't
who
know,
are
something
we
like that.
to sit here in judgment on parents just making a tiny mistake. So
On this day of days.
on today of all days, I'm so very sorry. And yes, so definitely forgiven.
It's going to cost you money, by the way.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so do you forgive Bob for his car wash misdemeanour? Mind you, you got Claudia Ranieri wrong as well, so there you go. This one comes from Tom, so thank you very much indeed, Tom, for tonight's interesting and sporty tale. Simon and the Compassionate Confessional Collective. This story relates to your request a while back for confessions needed for sins committed during sports events.
Excellent, yes.
I think you might like this.
Yes.
It's the early hours of January the 30th, 2000. Andre Agassi, tennis legend, winner of all 4 slams and my hero, is playing Yevgeny Kafelnikov in the final of the Australian Open. You remember this?
Yeah.
No?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Was it on
Okay.
clay? Was it on grass?
It's on clay, isn't it?
Yes,
If it's in
the
Australia.
Aussie-
It's
Aussie-
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's good.
I know some stuff.
Kafelnikov was the defending champion, but is clearly up against it here, against the genius of Andre Agassi. I am glued to the television, thoroughly enjoying the relentless and flamboyant returning and baseline play of one of the greatest players of all time, Andre Kirk Agassi, that's his full name, en route to another victory. But it is a struggle to start with and a bit of a shock. Andre loses the first set 6-3. Now, as of course you know, with top-level tennis, there is a significant level of grunting. Loads of players do it. Jimmy Connors and Monica Seles apparently invented it, but Nadal, Azarenka, Sharapova, they have continued the shriek fest ever since. I love particularly when there was a time when you went to Wimbledon and we went live to you and there was an awful lot of
Yes, there was.
shrieking and yelling going on. But a bit like this. This kind of thing. This is Victoria Azarenka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unmistakable.
Yeah, absolutely unmistakable, but, quite memorable. Now, at this point, Father Simon, I need to draw breath and prepare to reveal one vital point that will illuminate the scene and my sin, demonstrate my need for absolution, for not all of the grunting is coming from the television speakers in our living room. What could be happening? My wife, Helen, is pregnant. To be precise, she's a little over 9 months pregnant and actually, really, totally in labour. This clearly involves a certain degree of grunting although the pitch and volume of said grunting is somewhat different to that emanating from Agassi and Kafelnikov.
Yes.
The timing for me is absolutely perfect, allowing me to indulge in a gripping final of my hero and then occasionally say a few supportive words to my wife. Yes, keep going. Just think you're doing well. Oh, look, there's another rally. To be fair, I do distinguish the grunts of my wife and respond by fetching a drink or adjusting the tens machine or expressing encouragement in the process. There are, after all, regular breaks at the change of ends.
Yes, there you go.
You know, so...
Priorities, right?
So it's going a bit like this. Okay, that's good. Very good. How regular are we saying here? Okay, just keep it together. Come on, Helen. Just don't lose it. Don't lose it. Keep it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's lost it. There you go. I think I managed the delicate balance of supporting but not getting in the way husband perfectly, aided and abetted by a great sporting occasion. Where I need to seek absolution, Father Simon, is in the finer detail. Helen seemed to be experiencing a comparatively quick labour. We'd been told at antenatal classes that a trip to the hospital would be definitely recommended when the contractions are at 5-minute intervals. Unfortunately, her contractions began shortly before the final, and Helen was reluctant to contact the hospital, of course she was, so early in labour, and was prepared to hang on for as long as possible, of course she was. Sometimes the gruntathon in our room was extraordinary. Agassi would yell, Kafelnikov would yell, and then Helen would join in and she'd yell too. Never mind every 5 minutes, it was every 5 seconds. It was difficult to tell what was happening. In my devotion to the tennis, in truth, I may have been a little reluctant to force her hand and think that we probably should have been more urgent in just moving things along. By the time the tennis had finished and we'd reached the hospital, 4 sets, but Helen barely managed to stagger from the car park to the ward. On examination, she was found to be 8 centimetres dilated, and our beautiful daughter was born in a matter of seconds.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Why hang around?
Yeah.
Dear collective, I seek absolution for my not being entirely 100% focused on my wife through her first labour and supporting her decision to stay at home for the tennis, when she should potentially have already been in hospital. My midwives for the occasion were, for the record, Tina from Birmingham, Jenny in Aberdeen, as well as Andre from Las Vegas and Yevgeny from Sochi. Yours in hope, there's Tom. Well, he's come clean, and I think Helen was... She clearly went along with it, I guess. Do you think, to an extent?
No.
I think she was quite a tennis fan.
No, listen, if they had conspired together as a distraction to watch the tennis and keep going right to the last minute, obviously the safest last minute, bearing in mind the trip to the hospital, and of course you don't want, really, ideally, a baby in the back of the car. No, Tom, I don't feel compassionate at all. Absolutely, 100% unforgiven. You're lucky you're still married. I'm assuming that you are.
Right.
That's Radvanska.
Oh,
just for an extra little
We
spin
got
on
this from
there.
a compilation CD, did we?
No. We were just top research. What do you say, Brother Matthew?
I rue to think what would have happened if I had told my wife that while she was having our son, let's just wait till the end of this. Might be a 5-setter. See whether it goes to a tie break. 4th set. Yes, I'm a big fan of the grunting in tennis. I know a lot of people don't like it. I think it's fabulous.
Why do you think it's fabulous?
Well, I like it. I think it's more than just the... Yes, there you go. I think it's actually a timing thing as opposed to an exertion thing. And I like it. Anyway, that's aside. Well done, Helen, for holding it together till the end of the match. Well done. Of course, they could have listened to the match on the radio in the car. Didn't think of that, did they?
Yeah.
So actually, for that reason, I am not going to forgive, because of course you should have been listening to 5 Live, who would have had
you corporate tart,
doubtless peerless coverage on the medium wave.
Tonight's confession, which comes from Paul. By the way, Bobby, if you work out something halfway through this confession, you're not allowed to say anything, okay? Because it might be that you're ahead of the curve.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Shh, I'll stay stum.
Here's Paul. It says, forgive me. The novice is in, by the way. All right, novice?
Yes,
Thanks
good,
very
lovely.
much. Forgive me, Father Simon, for I've sinned. I need to take you back to when I was living in Stubbington with my wife, Alison, and our 2 sons, Toby, aged 7, and Flynn, aged 3. This is near Leon Solent on Hampshire's south coast, by far the nicest of all Hampshire's coastlines, he adds, unnecessary. necessarily. Like most parents of boys, we found keeping two robust and highly active young children entertained was a constant challenge. Boys being boys, they seemed to be permanently on the go. It was a constant struggle to find new ways to keep them amused, but luckily we discovered the answer, and respite for our sanity in the form of Poulton's Park, the family-orientated amusement park. Now, the only problem was the 35-minute car journey to get there, mostly along the busy and often slow M27 that runs between Portsmouth and Southampton. Father Simon, I know that 35 minutes may not sound like a long time, but for the parents of two hyperactive nippers strapped in the back of a car with nothing to do but bicker, fight and squabble, it was a nightmare. It was during one such painful journey that I had an idea of how to keep them quiet, at least for some of the journey. It was just before we set off for the park one Saturday morning that I announced, "Right, boys, we're going to play a game today, and the prize for the winner is £50. Wow. Two wide-eyed meerkats, one age 7, the other age 3, suddenly appeared in the rear-view mirror. £50, they shout in unison. Really? Asked Toby. Yes, I promise I'll give this £50 note to the winner. I produced a large red and brown banknote from my wallet and held it there for them to see. They lost their tiny minds. Hooray! How much is £50, Daddy? Asked Flynn innocently. Toby turned to his younger brother. He couldn't get the words out fast enough. £50, Flynn, £50. We could buy our own sweet shop with that. And there was much rejoicing. My wife Alison, who foolishly I hadn't let in on my scheme, glared at me, but I gave her a, "Trust me, darling, I know what I'm doing," sort of wink. The boys were effervescent with excitement. "What's the game, Daddy?" says Flynn. "OK, boys, it's really easy. It's like I Spy. The first one to spot Junction 6 on the M27 gets the £50 note." Stunned silence. "What's a junction?" asks Flynn. "It's the big blue sign on the motorway, darling," Alison explained. "When you see a big blue sign with a number 6 on it, you shout bingo." There was an enthusiastic buzz coming from the back seats, and when, several minutes later, we joined the motorway at Junction 9, there were squeals of excitement. "Right, keep your eyes peeled, boys. Here we go." You could have heard a pin drop. Total silence in the car. You could almost hear the strain of their little eyeballs as they searched for Junction 6. A blue sign appeared in the distance. "Bingo!" shouts Flynn. We approached and passed Junction 8. "No, that's number 8, Flynn. Keep looking." More concentrated eye straining, beautiful silence. "Bingo!" shouts Flynn again as we approach Junction 7. "No, that's number 7. More peace and quiet. Toby, who had been quiet and, unlike his brother, knew that 9 was followed by 8, then 7, then the hallowed 6, was now like a coiled spring. Another blue sign appeared in the distance. Toby nearly burst. "Bingo, bingo, there it is, Junction 6, I win!" There was a stunned silence as we approached and then passed the junction with a large number 5 on it. "Oh dear, that's Junction 5. You must have blinked and missed it. Oh well, you can try again on the way home." Both boys, but especially Toby, were perplexed, but soon forgot about the game and had a great day at the park. So we get in the car on the way back, same again in the other way round. Junction 2, Junction 3, Junction 4, Junction 5. "Bingo! Junction 6, shouts Toby, punching the air, positive that he's won this time. I'm pretty sure he hadn't blinked for 20 minutes. His apparent victory was short-lived and a disappointed hush fell as we passed the large blue road sign and he saw number 7. "Huh? Oh no, unlucky Tobes, you missed it again." Silence reigned for the rest of the journey, and after their little brains gave up trying to work out how they'd missed Junction 6 again, they both fell asleep. Result. Before I was posted to Cyprus, we must have played Junction Bingo about 8 or 9 times over the next 2 years. No matter how hard they tried, how much they concentrated, the boys never won my £50 note. It stayed unclaimed in my wallet. The car journeys were always much less stressful for me and Alison, not necessarily for the utterly baffled Toby and Flynn. So obviously I need forgiveness from my boys who, unknown to them, couldn't possibly know that the £50 note prize was going to stay with me because, as you've no doubt guessed, there is no Junction 6 on the M27, and there never has been. Here's the detail, that which Bobby obviously knows. There were plans to put in a spur to Southampton and create a junction between 5 and 7, but it was never built. The boys are now 20 and 16 and know that they were deceived, but I hope that they'll forgive me and not carry out their threat of putting me in a really shabby nursing home when the time comes. Just off Junction 6 on the M27. Their mum apparently will want for nothing. Yours from Paul, specialist in child psychology and mental anguish. RAF retired, now in Dubai. So let's see what we make of this tale. Nice game. People are going to be playing this, I think. Did you know this about Junction 6, Bobby Pryor?
Oh, there's lots of places, actually, where they have inconsistencies. Sorry, but Nigel just fell off the ledge then.
What, with boardom?
No, it's
Tell us, just started.
Tell us about all the junctions.
No, I'm not going to tell you now. No, there are many inconsistencies with junctions around the country. I'm not going to tell you. Sometimes you get a junction 8 on westbound, but not on the eastbound. So what I was going to say is, I'll come to that later. What I was going to say is, I'm 50-50 on this, because you should never lie to your children or trick them, because it only sets them up to be really terrible adults, I think. However, in the interest of safety in the back of the car, and whoever's been the sister of a big sister being done in by her big sister, then anything that you can do to distract them and make it safe for driving, then I think it's a great thing. Just be warned.
Yeah.
Some of those motorways, they have a junction or a missing on one side, but not on the other. So you might get caught out, Paul. Just saying, you're forgiven in this case.
Junction bingo on the M27 is going to work. And what do we make of this, Novice?
I think you should write a book, Bobby. Bobby's Bits and Pieces. Absolutely. I've just seen the future. Yeah.
It's going to be a dull old book, then.
Well, no, not the way Bobby writes. I once asked for my lads, when Harry was 3, and we had £50. He said, £50, Dad, you can buy a car with £50. And his 5-year-old brother said, don't be ridiculous, it costs you at least 75. Which I know you can get a wreck, but I mean a decent one. So it just shows they've got no real grasp of reality then, of money at all. I was incredibly impressed with Paul having a £50 note in his wallet. I can't remember the last time I had a £50 note in my wallet, because it's all plastic, of course. So on that, really, I thought it was incredibly inventive, and to do it for years running, well, just shows the lads well. Well done, Paul, and effervescent with excitement, fusion of expression. Alone, you are well forgiven.
Forgiveness for Paul is 2 out of 2. Let's see what Brother Matthew makes of this.
Knowledge of different junctions was going to pay off, and it paid off very much here for Paul. And I do have some experience of having to be kept quiet. And I know my mum used to do a thing with all 3 of us in the back of the car where you had to spot the nearest little chef, and basically kept us silent for ages because she knew she was driving along a road in which there were no little chefs at all.
That's a good game.
It is a great game if you are a parent. Not so great if you're 9. Anyway, I am going to forgive because, do you know what? Lying to the kids. Check, check, check. Well done. So, yes, definitely forgiven.
Well, they were this week's confessions. Who did you forgive? Anyone in particular? And did it provoke a shadowy secret of your own? Maybe you can send it to confessions@bbc.co.uk. And don't forget, you can listen to all our interviews again via the iPlayer. On Monday, happy author Jonathan Moore joined us from Hawaii to talk about The Poison Artist, which is our latest book club offering. We had a fabulous Tunes Day on Tuesday. Hear all the tunes in the order in which we broadcast them if you go to just after 6 o'clock on Tuesday. Obviously. Stephen Mangan was in on Wednesday talking about his new TV show Houdini and Doyle. And Nigel featured slow-cooked pulled beef brisket. The recipe can be found on my Radio 2 page. All of it. All the stuff is on the iPlayer. Thank you so much for listening. We'll do it again next week. By the way, if you made it this far, could you tweet Nigel Ogden, top organist? Thank you very much.